Hello everyone, this is Kiran Kumar, an educator in chemistry. Today we are going to discuss about Bohr-Sommerfeld atomic model. Before going to discuss about that model, we have to understand the differences between Bohr's concept and Sommerfeld's concept. So the Bohr's concept is that according to Bohr's atomic model, electrons revolve around the nucleus in circular path. Whereas, according to Sommerfeld's concept, the electrons revolve around the nucleus in elliptical path, in addition to circular path. So, Sommerfeld has introduced what? Sommerfeld has introduced elliptical orbits. Elliptical orbits in addition to what? Circular orbits. Okay. So, next thing is that Bohr's model could not explain, Bohr's atomic model could not explain the fine spectrum of the hydrogen atom. Fine spectrum of the hydrogen atom means in the hydrogen spectrum, there are many spectral lines. Every spectral line is made up of fine lines. And the group of fine lines is called fine spectrum. The fine spectrum of hydrogen or single electron species was not explained by Bohr's concept. Whereas the Sommerfeld's concept could explain the fine spectrum of hydrogen atom. Okay. So how it explained, we'll discuss. So according to Bohr's concept, there will be a single spectral line obtained in hydrogen spectrum when electron undergoes transition from one orbit to the other orbit, from one shell to other shell. When electron undergoes transition, that is when electron jumps, there will be formation of spectral lines. And according to Sommerfeld concept, each spectral line is again made up of, is composed of fine lines. The finer lines will be there in every spectral line. The group of finer lines is called what? Fine spectrum. Either the fine spectrum could explain, the fine spectrum could be explained by Sommerfeld's concept. Next thing is that, so when electrons revolve in circular path, according to Bohr's concept, see, when electron is revolving around the nucleus in circular path, the distance of this electron from the nucleus is called radius vector. Radius vector is nothing but the distance of the electron from the nucleus. So R is what here? Radius vector. And next one is that when electron is moving from one place to other place, when electron is revolving from one place to other place along the circular path, there will be an angle subtended by the radius vector. The angle subtended by radius vector from the reference position is called phi. This phi is called the angle of revolution. The angle of revolution is represented by phi and radius vector is represented by r. And according to Sommerfeld's concept, the electrons revolve in elliptical path in addition to circular path. So here we have taken second orbit, suppose. If n is equal to 2, that is second orbit or L shell. In L shell, the electrons will be revolving sometimes in elliptical path, sometimes circular path. So these two orbits, elliptical path and circular path, both are present in same shell, L shell, same orbit, second orbit. But here, the electrons always revolve in circular path when n is equal to 2. When n is equal to 2 or L shell according to Bohr's model, always the electrons will be revolving in circular path. But according to Sommerfeld's concept, the electrons may revolve in elliptical path as well as circular path. So when electron jumps from circular path to elliptical path and vice versa, what happens is that some fine lines will be obtained. The finer lines are obtained in spectral line by the transition of electrons from one path to other path. So this elliptical path and circular path, these two paths will be called suborbits. Suborbits or subshells according to Sommerfeld. So according to Sommerfeld concept, around the nucleus there will be orbits, there will be shells. Again, the shells are made up of subshells or suborbits. So here elliptical suborbit, circular suborbit will be there. So when electron jumps from one subshell to other subshell, fine lines will be obtained. But Sommerfeld could not explain how many lines will be formed, how many fine lines will be there in every spectral line was not explained by Sommerfeld. Sommerfeld also could not explain the fine spectrum of multi-electron species with more than one electron. Okay, so these points we have to understand. And Sommerfeld has introduced what now? Elliptical orbits in addition to circular orbits. That means if you take second orbit, if n equals to 2, that is L shell. Sommerfeld has introduced how many elliptical orbits? One elliptical suborbit is introduced by Sommerfeld for the L shell. L shell means second orbit. So like this here. So when you take ellipse, for an ellipse, there are two axes. One is major axis, one is minor axis. This AB represents what here? Major axis. And CD represents what? Minor axis. And also remember that for each ellipse, there will be two foci, focus 1 and focus 2. But at one focus, the nucleus is located. The nucleus is located at one of the two foci, and the distance between nucleus and electron is called R. R is what here? Radius vector. And also this phi represents what? Angle of revolution. So now difference between circular path and elliptical path of electron is that here you take circular path. Okay, now this distance of electron from nucleus, that is radius vector, remains constant when electron is revolving in circular. But this angle of revolution phi changes. Phi value changes, but R remains constant. But if you take in elliptical path, when electron is moving from one point to other point on the elliptical path, what happens is that the distance between the electron and nucleus will be changing. So here the distance between electron and nucleus is less. When electron comes here, the distance will be more. That means what? The radius vector R value changing as well as the phi value changes. Phi is what? Angle of revolution. The angle of revolution changes as well as the radius factor will be changing. Okay. So like this, what here? R value and phi value both will change in elliptical path, whereas only phi value changes, but the radius factor remains constant in circular path. Next thing is that if you take the electron revolving in circular path, okay, at any instant, the V is representing what here? Tangential velocity. V represents what here at this point? Tangential velocity of electron. That is given. Here, when electron is revolving in elliptical path, imagine this is elliptical path. Okay, so electron at this instant is considered. Now here, the distance of electron from nucleus is R here. This is radius factor. And at this point, this V represents what? Tangential velocity of electron. Now, according to Sommerfeld's concept, when electron revolves in elliptical path, the tangential velocity is resolved into two components of velocity. One component of velocity, V1, is along this radius factor. Along the radius factor, one V1 is there. The V1 represents what? Radial velocity of electron. And to this radial velocity, perpendicularly, there is another component of velocity, V2. This V2 is perpendicular to V1. So the velocity component, which is perpendicular to the radial velocity, is called angular velocity. So there are two types of velocities for the electron revolving around the nucleus in elliptical path: radial velocity and angular velocity. So this V represents what? Your tangential velocity, which is resolved into two components of velocity, V1 and V2. And V1 represents what? Radial velocity of the electron, and V2 represents what? Angular velocity of the electron. And this radial velocity will give rise to radial momentum to the electron, and angular velocity will represent angular momentum. So angular velocity will give rise to angular momentum to the electron, and radial velocity will give rise to radial momentum. So there are two types of momenta for the electron revolving around the nucleus in elliptical path. Okay. So now here the two momenta of electron in elliptical path are integral multiples of h upon 2 pi. Here, according to Bohr's model, what he has said, mvr, mass into velocity into radius of the orbit, that is angular momentum of electron in the given orbit, is equal to integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. That was the important postulate of Bohr's atomic model. Okay, and here also Sommerfeld's concept also says that the angular momentum or radial momentum due to angular velocity or radial momentum due to radial velocity, both the momenta of electron are integral multiples of h upon 2 pi. Same thing he has said, but he has changed what? The types of constants. Okay, the integers are changed here. So it is about what now? A Sommerfield's concept and Bohr's concept. Bohr's concept and Sommerfield's concept, basic differences between these two concepts. Actually, Bohr-Sommerfield atomic model is the extension to what? Bohr's theory. Now we'll discuss the same by using a PPT. PPT showing what? Bohr-Sommerfield's concept. So this is what we have, Bohr's extension. So Sommerfield's extension to what? Bohr's theory. Sommerfield's extension by Bohr's theory. And the first point what we have to understand is that to explain the fine spectrum of hydrogen atom, Sommerfeld in 1915 proposed that the moving electron might describe elliptical orbits in addition to the circular orbits. That means what? Electrons revolve around the nucleus in elliptical orbits in addition to what? Circular orbits. And circular orbit is the special case of elliptical orbit. That means what? When electrons are revolving in elliptical path, the elliptical orbit becomes circular orbit at certain condition that we are going to discuss. The nucleus is situated at one of the two foci of the elliptical orbit. The elliptical orbit, that is, ellipse has two foci, focus 1 and focus 2. So at one focus the nucleus is located. And the next point what we have to understand is that during the motion of electron on the circular path, only the angle of revolution, that is phi, changes. The value of phi changes, while the distance of the electron from the nucleus remains the same. The distance of the electron from the nucleus is called radius vector. The radius vector remains constant in circular path. Next point what we have to understand is that in the elliptical path, during the motion of electron, both the angle of revolution and the distance of the electron from the nucleus change. Both the phi value and r value, both the values change. The distance from the nucleus is termed as the radius vector, small r, and the angle of revolution is called azimuthal angle, which is denoted by phi. If you consider an ellipse, for this ellipse there are two axes I said. What are they? This is major axis and it is minor axis. And this small a, let it be semi-major axis length, and small b is what? Semi-minor axis length. And the major axis length will be now a plus a, 2a. And minor axis length will be p plus p, 2b. At one focus, what is located? Nucleus is located here. And this is a radius vector. And this phi is what? Angle of revolution. The electron is revolving in elliptical path. Where F indicates what? Nucleus in the diagram, R indicates radius factor, phi is azimuthal angle or angle of revolution, A is semi-major axis length, where length of major axis will be 2 into A, and B is semi-minor axis, where length of the minor axis is 2B. Now the values of K is also called azimuthal quantum number. The values of K introduced by whom? Sommerfeld. So this K represents what? Azimuthal quantum number, which is also called n phi. The phi indicates what here? The angle of revolution. The n value in terms of phi. That is also called K, the values of K, given by Sommerfeld. So in general, n represents what? Principal quantum number. That is the number of orbits. And K indicates what here? The azimuthal quantum number. The K is also called n phi. The values of K will start from 1. Okay, they will end up to n. That means the K values will be starting from 1, end with n value. If we take second orbit, n equals to 2, That's why K value will be 1 and 2. Maximum K value will be 2. If N value is 4, fourth orbit, suppose, in that K value will be maximum 4 and minimum always 1. So the length of major axis upon length of minor axis is equal to N upon K, where N is principal quantum number which represents what? Length of major axis. K is what? Azimuthal quantum number which represents length of minor axis. If N equals to K, if N equals to 1, that means what? First orbit. If N equals to 1, that is first orbit or K shell, capital K shell. The value of K, azimuthal quantum number value will be only 1. Because N value 1, that's the maximum K will be N. As N value is 1, maximum K value also will be 1. So K value is 1 indicates what here? That is only one suborbit. Only one suborbit will be present in first orbit. In the first orbit means what? K shell. In K shell only one suborbit will be there because number of K values will be only 1. Next, if we take second orbit, if N equals to 2, principal quantum number value 2 indicates what? Second orbit or capital L shell. Capital L shell. In this, there are two values of K. K value 1 and K value 2. Two values of K are available here. That means what here? Two suborbits or subshells will be present in second orbit. In the L shell, second orbit, how many suborbits are there here? Two suborbits are there. Next point, what we have to understand is that if N value 3, that is third orbit, the K values will be 3. Number of K values will be equal to N value. And maximum K value will be N. So K values always start from 1. That's why 1, 2, and 3. There are 3 K values in third orbit. That means what we have to understand? 3 suborbits or subshells will be present in third orbit. And if we take N equals to 4, N equals to 4 means fourth orbit or N, capital N shell, KLMN, N shell, contains how many K values? 4 K values. The maximum K value here will be 4. So they start from 1, 2, 3 and up to 4. That means what here? 4 suborbits or subshells will be present in fourth orbit. Fourth orbit means what? Capital N shell. Next, the angular momentum of electron moving in elliptical orbit. Angular momentum of electron. Angular momentum, how it is obtained by the electron? Due to angular velocity component. So the angular momentum of electron moving in an elliptical orbit is equal to K into h upon 2 pi. K is what here? Azimuthal quantum number. And K is an integer except 0. This K value cannot be 0. Minimum K value is 1 and maximum K value will be equal to principal quantum number, that is N. Next, the values of K will be 1, 2, 3, 4 up to what? N. Up to N it will be. And N upon K is nothing but length of major axis upon length of minor axis that we already discussed. With increase in the value of K, the ellipticity of the orbit decreases. That means when N equals to K, orbit becomes what now? Circular. The elliptical orbit becomes circular if N value is equal to K value. Wherever N value equals to K, the orbit becomes what? Circular in nature. That means when K value is more, ellipticity is less. Okay. That point we'll discuss in next step. So K value cannot be 0. The small K value cannot be 0. That means the azimuthal quantum number value cannot be 0. Because if the length of minor axis becomes 0, so K value 0 indicates what here? Length of minor axis becomes 0. If the length of minor axis becomes 0, the ellipse shall take the shape of a straight line. The ellipse will no more be present there. The ellipse becomes what? Straight line, because the minor axis becoming 0. That means the electron passes through the nucleus. The negatively charged electron will pass through the nucleus if the ellipse takes what? Straight line, which makes the atom very unstable. Thus K cannot be equal to 0. K is not equal to 0. So K is not equal to 0 because when K is 0, minor axis length will be 0 and the electron passes through nucleus, which makes the atom very unstable. And next, radial momentum and angular momentum. This angular momentum is also called azimuthal momentum. So radial momentum of electron is due to the radial velocity component. Angular momentum of electron is due to angular velocity constant. If you imagine the electron moving along the circular along elliptical path, here the electron is there. This electron has v, tangential velocity, which is resolved into x. X is what radial velocity, and y is what here perpendicular to x. Na? So it is called angular velocity. And at one focus, what is there? Nucleus is located. So it is the minor axis, and this is major axis. Okay. So now here the radial momentum is due to radial velocity, which is equal to the integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. So nr is taken here. The integer value is what here? Nr. Nr is what here? The radial quantum number. What is n? Subscript r represents here radial quantum number. And azimuthal quantum number. Azimuthal quantum number is given by n phi. In place of n phi, what we can also write? K. Small k we can write. So azimuthal momentum of electron is due to what? Angular velocity. So this azimuthal momentum is equal to the integral multiple of h upon 2 pi, where n phi represents what here? Azimuthal quantum number given by Sommerfeld. Okay. So here this is the electron revolving in which path? Elliptical path. So the tangential velocity of the electron at a particular instant can be resolved into two components of velocity. One along the radius vector called what? Radial velocity, and the other perpendicular to the radius vector is called what? Angular velocity or transverse velocity also we can say. And radial and angular velocities give rise to two types of momenta to the electron, namely radial momentum and angular momentum. V indicates what here? Tangential velocity in the diagram. X indicates radial velocity and Y indicates angular velocity. Now, what we have to understand is that the total quantum number is also called the principal quantum number, which is equal to the sum of radial quantum number nr plus azimuthal quantum number n phi. Nr plus n phi together called principal quantum number. The total quantum number, that is principal quantum number, is equal to sum of nr and n phi. N phi we can also say k. Length of major axis or length of minor axis equals to n upon n phi. The length of major axis is represented by principal quantum number na n value, and length of minor axis is represented by azimuthal quantum number k, otherwise n phi. So n upon k we can say, or n upon n phi we can say. But in place of n, what we can substitute? Nr plus n phi. Therefore, here in place of n, what we have substituted? Nr plus n phi upon n phi, where Nr plus n phi upon n phi is nothing but n by k. N is what here? N is what? Principal quantum number, and k is what? Azimuthal quantum number. Next, since n phi is equal to k, we have taken this relation. And suborbits will be present in an orbit according to Sommerfeld. Suppose we have taken two vertical columns here. The first vertical column represents what? Shell number, orbit number, main energy level we say. So we can say shell or orbit or main energy level, which is represented by which values? Principal quantum number values. And n values take 1, 2, 3, 4 up to infinity. What is the minimum n value? 1. Maximum n value will be infinity. This n is what now here? Principal quantum number. And here another column heading is what here? Subshell or suborbit or sub energy level, which is given by L. L is what here? Azimuthal quantum number. In the beginning, Sommerfeld has taken what? K for representing elliptical concept. But later on, it was observed that k values will take 0 also. According to Sommerfeld concept in the beginning, k values start from 1, he said. But the wave mechanical study revealed that k value can also be 0, and hence the letter k was replaced. And what is the allotted? L. L is representing what here? Azimuthal quantum number instead of k. And the relation between L and k is given as L equals to K minus 1. So L is what here? Azimuthal quantum number according to wave mechanical study, that equals to K minus 1. Next, if n equals to 1, that is first orbit or K shell. In n equals to 1, how many K values will be possible? Only one K value. The K value is equal to 1 as Sommerfeld given here. So K value 1 indicates, that is L value will be having formula what? L value equals to K minus 1 na? So L equals to K, that is 1 minus 1, 0. So L value became 0 here. If L value is 0 always, remember that subshell is called S subshell. Whenever L value is 0, the subshell is given what? S designation. As this subshell S is present in first orbit, this is called 1s subshell. 1s subshell we say. And next, if you take second orbit now, if n equals to 2, that is second orbit or L shell, how many K values will be possible in n equals to 2? There will be 2 K values. So K value 1 is possible here, and also K value 2 is possible. When K value 1, we can take the same thing. When L equals to 0, it is S. As S is present in second orbit, it is called 2s subshell we say. And when K is 2 here, the L value will be given as K minus 1. So 2 minus 1, that equals to 1. Whenever L value becomes 1, that subshell is designated by P, letter P. As P is present in second orbit, it is called 2P subshell we say. So in second orbit, in this L shell, how many suborbits there here? 2s, one type is there, 2p, one type is there. That means one is elliptical, one is circular. One is elliptical and one is circular. So here, which is elliptical, which is circular, how to understand is that whenever n value is 2 and k value is 2, when n equals to 2 and k is equal to 2, when n value is equal to k value, the orbit becomes what now? Circular. That's why the 2p subshell has k value 2 and n value also 2. Therefore, this 2p subshell will be circular in shape, 2s will be elliptical in shape. So one elliptical orbit or one elliptical path is introduced by Sommerfeld in second orbit. And if you take n equals to 3, that is third orbit or M shell. In the M shell or third orbit, there will be 3 K values possible. Number of K values equal to n. So K value 1, K value 2, K value 3. If you take K value 3, L will be equal to K minus 1, 3 minus 1, that is 2. So whenever L value becomes 2, that is designated by small d subshell. So as this d subshell is present in third orbit, it is called 3d subshell we say. So there are 3s, 3p, 3d subshells in third orbit according to Sommerfeld concept. If n equals to 4, that is fourth orbit or n shell, there will be 4 values of k. If k value is 4, what happens is, see, L value is equal to k minus 1, that is 4 minus 1, 3. Whenever L value is equal to 3, that subshell is called F subshell. Okay, as it is present in fourth orbit, it is called 4f subshell. So in fourth orbit, totally how many subshells are there? 4s, 4p, 4d, and 4f. If the value of n is principal quantum number is 4, there will be 3 elliptical orbits and 1 circular will be there. Remember, according to Bohr's concept, Sommerfeld's concept, if n equals to 4, 3 will be n minus 1. N minus 1 means 4 minus 1 will be number of elliptical orbits and 1 circular orbit. That's why among these 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f, which is circular, how to say? For circular orbit, what should be condition? N value and k value. So k value 4, n value 4. When n value and k value both are 4, okay, the orbit becomes what? Circular. That's why among the 4s, 4p, 4d, and 4f, 4f will be circular in shape. So that is, what we have to understand is that it is clear that L and K values for 4f suborbit are 3 and 4 respectively. 3 is L value and 4 is K value. And for 4f suborbit, K is equal to N is equal to 4. Thus 4f subshell is circular in nature. And K value cannot be more than N. Okay, because minor axis is always smaller than major axis. That means K value always smaller than n value. And k value can be equal to n phi. N phi means what now here? Azimuthal quantum number. Okay. Under this condition, k value is equal to what now? N value we have to say here. That means what? Under this condition, when n equals to k, the lengths of major axis and minor axis become equal. And the ellipse takes what? The shape of a circle when n is equal to k. Thus, we can say that k, that is azimuthal quantum number or angular momentum quantum number value, can have all integral values up to n, but not 0. K value cannot be 0. And the number of elliptical orbits in a shell. If you take the diagram of fourth orbit, for fourth orbit, that is n shell, there are 3 elliptical orbits, three elliptical orbits and 1 circular orbit. And here, this red colored ellipse having what? N value 4, k value 1. And the green colored ellipse has what? N value 4, k value 3. And the blue colored has what? N value 4, k value 2. And last one has what? N value 4, k value 4. When n value, k value both are same, that orbit will be circular in nature. So the 3 elliptical orbits are there and 1 circular orbit in fourth orbit, that is n shell. So he introduced what? 3 elliptical orbits in fourth orbit. And important points to remember that as the value of k decreases, when k value decreases for a given n value, what happens? The ellipticity increases. K value decreases for a given value, ellipticity also increases. So k value 1, k value 4, which is lower k value 1. K value 1 indicates more elliptical in nature. And in a main energy level, say n equals to some value, the energies of subshells differ slightly from one another. Suppose if you take n equals to 4, in that 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f there. Okay, the energies between 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f will be very slightly changed. And when an electron undergoes transition from fourth orbit to third orbit, that is n equals to 4 to n is equal to 3, according to Bohr's concept, only one spectral line is obtained. Electron is coming from one orbit to other orbit. That's why only one line will be obtained according to Bohr's concept. Whereas, according to Sommerfeld's concept, okay, many lines are obtained. Many spectral lines, that is, fine lines are obtained due to transition of electrons from one subshell to the other subshell. If you take fourth orbit, from 4s to 4p, the electrons may be jumping. But still, electron is in fourth orbit only. But from one subshell to other subshell, the electrons jumping. This explains the fine spectrum of hydrogen atom and defects of Bohr's Sommerfeld's atomic model. So Bohr's Sommerfeld model could not explain the fine spectra of multi-electron species, more than one electron. It failed to explain what? The intensities, brightness of different fine lines of the fine spectrum of hydrogen atom. And it could not explain anomalous Zeeman effect. Normal Zeeman effect was explained by Bohr's Sommerfeld model, and anomalous Zeeman effect. Okay, that means how many spectral lines will be present in every spectral line, that was not explained. That means how many fine lines will be formed in a given spectral line was not explained by Sommerfeld concept. Thank you for watching.